Hi, I'm Cynthia Clark. As a Soulmate Palmist, I've discovered a system using hand analysis to identify your soulmate matches. Greater love is possible for you. There are 6 keys to soulmate attraction. There are 10 heart chambers in your hands that show you exactly what you need to heal. I can help you untangle dating confusion and work with the vibrational energy to change your vibration. True love exists for you if you claim it. Join me at loveinyourhands.com and find soulmate love fast. Cynthia Clark, and I am a soulmate palmist and also a love compatibility coach. And I'm really excited to be here today. I'm going to be talking about something that has been a challenge for me personally for a very long time. It probably goes all the way back to when I was a little kid. And I feel that it's so important that I need to talk about it because I had a pretty significant breakthrough with feeling small just recently. So I'm excited to share my discoveries and everything that's come through this. So we're going to be talking about what it means to feel small. What are actually the consequences of feeling small? And by small, of course, I also mean feeling insignificant, feeling like what you are and who you are doesn't really matter. This is something that I believe people struggle with across the board, at least at some point in their lives, if not most of their lives. So anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to I'm going to take you through my own personal breakthrough and how I got it. And then I'm going to be sharing with you exactly how to do it so that you can release your smallness and hopefully have a really cool transformation, because ultimately, when you can let go of this energy of feeling small, you can actually increase your chances of getting into a soulmate relationship or letting go of a toxic relationship. So first thing I want to talk about is just, what is this smallness energy and how does it work? So if you feel small, okay, so when I was a little kid, I grew up in a family of 4 kids. And I was the youngest, first of all. And my next older brother was 6 years older than me. So I was way, way, way behind my next sibling. And then my other brother was 7 years older. And then my sister was 8 years older than me. So I definitely had an inferiority complex right from being born because I was 6 years younger. And I was always told as a little kid, you're too small, you're too young, you're too little, you can't do this, you're not old enough. That really got embedded in my brain at a very young age, right? And that also happens to be when we're most influenced in that really young period from the time we're born to the time we are about 6 years old. So if you're constantly being told that you're too small, too little, what you're trying to do doesn't matter, that can have a pretty big impact on the rest of your life. For me, I was always trying to overcompensate and be overly giving. Okay, so I would come out and I'd be like, well, if I give more, if I do more, and this played out in relationships throughout my entire life, then they're going to love me. They're going to accept me. They're going to feel that significance that I'm trying to be significant, right? And how does that work? Well, it doesn't work out very well, does it? So, when you look at those toxic relationships when you're literally giving every single thing that you can give into that relationship, and the response is going to be, it's not enough. It's never enough, right? And that's because we're in that small energy. And I really can't stress enough to you that the inner game is so, so important. It's like everything. Okay, so the more you can start to work on that inner game, the more you are going to actually see it reflected in your outer reality. And this is actually one of the ways that the universe works. So the inner reflects the outer. We live in a holographic universe, and all the little pieces are reflected back into the whole. So we want to work with the laws of the universe to our advantage. Okay. And how we do that is that we work on ourselves, we work on that inner game, and it'll help open us up to a new relationship, a new type of relationship. It could actually transform a relationship that you're already in. And it can make a huge difference in your life. And getting over this feeling small is so important. So, by the way, you can identify how well you're doing just with how do you see yourself? How do you look at yourself through your hands? Okay, so the Jupiter finger is your finger of self. Okay, so it's how you look at yourself. And you can look specifically at the phalanges as well. The lower phalange, the one closest to the hand, is what we call your zone of boundaries. So if you have a boundary violation, chances are you're going to have some horizontal lines running through this particular part of your hand. The middle section of your Jupiter finger is called your zone of ambition, and that has to do with how you show up as yourself in the world. And this is actually where I had a block for a very long time until very recently, was that I felt like I couldn't get myself out there enough and have it make a difference. And, even though I've read for over 7,000 people in over 10 years, there was that small energy that I was still carrying that wasn't enough. That's still not good enough. Cynthia, you need to do another 7,000 before you even make a dent in being significant. And it's like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense, does it? And of course, these are not rational thoughts, but this is an energetic thing. This is a vibrational energy. And we need to shift that vibrational energy in order to really feel the effects of it. So that's why this is so important. And if you think you're small and insignificant, which, by the way, you're not, because of course you're divine, you're an infinite being, you're infinite light and love, you're a piece of that divine spark, and you are incredibly significant. And if you're here on the planet right now, that means that you have a right to be here. You're not an accident. You're just not. So why not take that free will aspect, which of course you have free will to either watch this or not watch this, and or listen if you're listening later on to the podcast. But if you choose to do this, I would love to hear how it works for you, because just in the week or so that I've been doing this, I've already noticed a lot of differences in my own life. And it's amazing how fast that can just show up. So it's super exciting. It can help transform your relationships. It can help you get out of a toxic relationship. It can help you open up a new relationship, a better relationship, starting with the relationship that you're having with yourself. So also, if you look at back to your Jupiter finger, the upper Jupiter is your zone of ideals. So if you have a blockage up there, it could be that you're either going against your own ideals, or you're not seeing what your ideals actually are. And so that's something we want to check in. So take a look at your Jupiter finger, your index finger, and just see what it is that it's showing. So if you've got vertical lines, by the way, so if the lines are going up the finger, that shows flow. So we do like to see that, and definitely that shows that things are moving. So, for example, if it's in your zone of boundaries, that's showing that you are taking charge of your boundaries. If you've got it in your zone of ambition, you are taking charge of your ambition and your bigger vision of what you see for your life. And if you've got it up here in your zone of ideals, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm owning up to what are my ideals, and I'm living them and I'm embodying them in my life. So that's all beautiful Jupiter stuff. And so without further ado, let's get into the healing. So I got to give we're going to break this down too. So I meditate pretty much every single day, and I've been doing this for, well, not every day, but I try to do it almost every day, when I have the time. And I find that it's one of the best things that you can do to actually get in touch with your higher self, get in touch with that part of yourself that knows the truth about who you are. And it can also guide you in your life, and it can guide you in just giving you awareness in areas where you need to heal. Because as you heal, you transform. And that's what it's all about. We're here to transform into a greater version of ourselves because we are that pure potential, and we are infinite, and we are infinite love. So, what I want to stress is that through meditation, and I encourage you to do this as well, is you can actually tap into that higher self, and you can get some really great information. I look forward to my meditations now because I never know what's actually going to come out of it. And I'm learning so much more about palmistry when I do it. I learn so much more about the universe, how the universe works, how our bodies work, how our thoughts work, how our emotions work. I have just like reams of pages of notes, and I write it out longhand, and I just sit with a notebook. It's like my meditation book, I call it. And I'll ask a question if there's something I specifically want to know about. And other times I just leave it open, and I just ask, what is it that I need to be aware of today? Or, what wants to come into my consciousness today? Sometimes I'll just ask real open-ended questions like that. And then I will sit and I will focus on my breath, because of course the breath is a way to center ourselves and to get into that listening stage of where we can hear the answers. And so what happened was, this was like I said, just a few days ago, I went into this meditative space, and I found out that I was carrying the energy of smallness. And I was like, oh, yeah, of course I'm carrying the energy of smallness. Like I said, it goes all the way back to my childhood. It also shows up in my fingerprints. So having a deep awareness of my hands, I have an awareness that one of my life lessons is feeling powerless. And that's another way of feeling small. Okay, so what came through was this poem. And back when I was a little kid, I used to write poetry, and I loved it. And it was just something that was part of who I was. So I find it interesting that now poems are starting to come back into my meditations. So this was the meditation that brought in this really cute little poem. So I'm going to read you the poem, then I'm going to dissect the poem a little bit for you, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to heal that smallness energy together. Okay, so let's all take a deep breath. It's really fun. By the way, if you're on the live stream today, I would love for you just to say hello, so I know you're out there. And tell me if any of you feel like you struggle with this smallness. I'd love to just, type in a yes or something like that. That'd be nice. So, okay. So the poem goes, I let go of the small. I now see myself as tall. I push over the wall, and now I can have a ball. Okay, so it rhymes. And I want you to write this down too. So if you don't have a piece of paper, go grab a piece of paper, and you can use this to let go of your own smallness energy. Okay, so I'm gonna put up right here on my little whiteboard. I let go of the small. So go ahead and write this down. Okay, we're going to start with the first one, and I'm going to break this out for you. So again, when we think of like letting go, releasing, we're choosing, right? Okay, so we're in our free will right now. So when we say I let go of the small, we are declaring to our higher self, to our universal consciousness, to our personality, whatever it is that you want to think of, we're declaring this as a way to manifest what we want. So I let go of the small. And so that smallness energy can include all of the ways where you have been not in your power, not allowing yourself to be in your power, not allowing yourself to be in your own truth, not knowing what it is that even meant, right? Because when you're in that smallness energy, you put up with so much. And ultimately, that's when you look at a relationship where you don't have sacred boundaries, you will put up with a lot of crap. And you will lessen yourself to the point where you can just get stomped on. And that doesn't feel very good. So what we want to do is let go of the small. Okay, so, and doesn't it feel good when you just say that? I let go of the small. Okay, so the next sentence is, I now see myself as tall. Okay, now this is an interesting statement that came out because as a woman, I personally am not very tall. I'm barely 5'6", which is maybe, I would say, average, but I'm definitely not a tall person. I could never get a job as a model, for example, because most of the models need to be about 6 feet tall or taller. So claiming that, I now see myself as tall is claiming that Jupiter energy, right? It's claiming that Jupiter, how do I look at myself? And when you see yourself as tall, wow, you kind of stand up straighter, right? You can breathe a little bit better. You can feel that importance because you are important. Remember, we're tapping into that divine energy. So that's the importance of seeing yourself as tall. And it's also, when I look at that too, it's about connecting. To me, it's like, okay, if we're tall, we're connecting more to our higher realms. We're upping our vibration. We're changing our vibrational energy. Okay. So that's another thing that I just realized about this statement. Okay. So the next statement. So go ahead and write that one down. I now see myself as tall. I push over the wall. Okay, now this is interesting. I push over the wall because a lot of times we look at a wall as being something that we can't get through, right? So when I push over the wall, it means that the wall is not as strong as I think it is. Okay. And sometimes we feel like we have to climb over something too, right? Like I've had a lot of dreams lately about mountains. And of course, I come from the mountains. I was born in Utah, and I lived also 7 years in and around Aspen. And so I was always surrounded by mountains my whole life. And now I'm in Sedona, which is a different kind of mountain. We call them rocks here. But anyway, so To think of a wall is to think of like a block. It's like something that's there, but hey, we can just push it over. And again, if you're tall, you can look at a wall and it's like a little thing, right? Like it's like you're looking at an ant, in an ant hill or something. And it's like, oh, I can just step on that. Like, what's the big deal? So I'm just going to push that over. And it doesn't have to be this big thing that takes forever. Okay. So a lot of times we think of things as they're going to take a long time or they're going to be difficult. And that simply doesn't need to be that way. Okay. So we're pushing over the wall. And then our last statement is, and now I can have a ball. All right. So if you want to participate and write this down, and now I can have a ball. So this statement to me says that, first of all, a ball is something playful, right? When you're a kid, what do? You go out and play ball, right? You're either playing with a baseball, a softball, a tennis ball, a basketball, you're playing some kind of sport and it's fun. It's playful. It has to do with like, okay, now my energy, because I'm no longer in smallness, I can open it up and I can feel a lot more significant and I can have fun. Like, life is not supposed to be so serious. Why do we ever take ourselves so seriously all the time? Let's go ahead and just relax a little bit and have some fun. And if I'm going to attract that type of relationship, that type of soulmate relationship that I'm looking for, well, it better darn well be fun. Because to me, life has so much more meaning when it's shared, but it has so much more meaning when it's shared with a soulmate partner, with somebody that you can play with, have fun with. You can be yourself and everything is okay. You don't have to apologize for being who you are. You don't have to apologize for having those, weird quirks, like reading hands. I shouldn't have to apologize for having an interest in reading hands to a partner. That's just totally ridiculous. You should be able to, enjoy things and play. And to me, also, the ball could represent like the ball of energy, the ball of light. It's like, now I can have a ball. I can have this ball of truth about who I am. I can get in touch with that and I can actually own it and I can be it and I can embody every part of that in my essence. And I can raise my own vibrational energy to be in my own personal power, which is absolutely what I want for every single person, to be in their own personal power where they're not feeling like a victim, where they're not feeling like they have to roll over and just die and take that kind of garbage that they definitely don't need to be taking. So anyway, that is what this last statement is all about. So how do we tap into this and how do we heal it within our own energetic body? Well, I would recommend that we get into a mudra, because mudras are a way to connect to our subconscious, and we do it through the hands. So it's this circuit. Okay, so we're creating a circuit. And the mudra that we need to connect to is the strength mudra. Because, of course, we're trying to build up our courage. We're trying to build up our own strength, our own self-dominion, right? We're tapping into that energy. So the strength archetype is the perfect one to connect to. So how we do that is we take that Jupiter finger, the one we've been talking about this whole time, and we want to put it onto what's called our Mercury mount. Okay, Mercury has to do with healing. It also has to do with our thoughts. So it's located just underneath our little finger. That is our Mercury finger. So I want you to touch your Jupiter finger, your index finger, to that mount. And then I want you to twist your fingers around so that you're doing it with both hands. Okay, so you can see here kind of how I am touching my both Jupiters to both Mercuries. And then take your thumb, which is, of course, your willpower, and let's go ahead and touch that right to our heart center. And I want you to take a deep breath. Okay, let's inhale. Exhale out. And we're just going to say these 4 phrases. We're going to do this just a few times, okay, until it starts to resonate and starts to stick in our energy field. So, by the way, you can say these out loud with me if you like, or you can just think as I say them out loud. Okay, so whatever you choose to do is fine. I let go of the small. I now see myself as tall. I push over the wall, and now I can have a ball. We'll do a big breath in between each one. I let go of the small. I now see myself as tall. I push over the wall, and now I can have a ball. I let go of the small. I now see myself as tall. I push over the wall, and now I can have a ball. I let go of the small. I now see myself as tall. I push over the wall, and now I can have a ball. I let go of the small. I now see myself as tall. I push over the wall, and now I can have a ball. Okay. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and just release the mudra and just notice how you feel after saying those statements a few times. Personally, I feel energized. I feel tingling in my body. I feel more powerful. I feel stronger. Ultimately, I hope you feel that as well. So that's what this whole exercise is designed for. So I thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. I hope this is incredibly helpful for you. And I hope that it helps you in your relationships. I hope it helps you in basically all areas of your life. And I am definitely interested in hearing how it feels for you. So, please, if you're in the live stream, obviously you can type it in right now. If you're watching the replay, I would love for you to put it in the comments. And I just greatly appreciate that. So if you're interested in learning more about how to find soulmate love fast, I would encourage you to go to loveinyourhands.com. And that is what I help people with. So until next time, have a fantastic day. And remember to claim your tallness.